Hi, friends. Welcome to College Town Talk. I'm Shan Stout.
And I'm Jonathan Frank.
Okay, Jonathan, I've got a question for you. Who most impacted your high school and college experience?
High school and college experience. I'm going to say the makers of Accutane and ramen noodles, Shan.
I was thinking more along the lines of an inspirational teacher or maybe a professor.
Oh, I see where you're going. I had many of those too.
Well, today we're joined by someone who mentored, led, and inspired countless students across the Upper Cumberland, the lovely Joy McCaleb Poteet. Now, Joy, just wait for her bio. She is a 3-time Tennessee Tech graduate and current student working on her second master's, who served for more than 20 years as a teacher at Upperman High School, winning Instructor Teacher of the Year awards at both institutions, and has been an adjunct instructor at Tennessee Tech for almost as long, teaching theater and communications courses. Oh, my word. When she's not teaching theater, she's participating in it herself. She is acting, directing, producing in countless local and traveling productions. She's also been a working journalist, holding previous roles at the Nashville Banner and the Herald Citizen. Joy, thank you for taking time out of your busy life. Welcome to College Town Talk.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. We want to talk about your service at Tennessee Tech, but let's start first with all your contributions to middle and high school students here in Putnam County. You've taught everything from theater to English, speech and journalism to students ranging from 7th grade all the way up to high school seniors. So what made you first pursue a career in teaching? And when you look back on those years at Upperman, what are some of your fondest memories?
Well, I worked a special production for the Herald Citizen, and I worked with all the school kids, and I really liked it. And it just happened that I was also handling the advertising for Charles Golden and Leo McGee in the old extended services at Tennessee Tech. And with their encouragement, I finished a degree in teaching and never looked back. And I had people like Angelo and Jeanette Volpe and Bruce Anderson and Dr. Kathy Legan and so many people who were my inspirations. And as far as the fondest memories, oh my goodness, I've had so many, and so many of those kids are still a huge part of my life. But probably the one thing that I felt was a defining moment for me was a book that my students and I put together after one of our fellow students passed away and became an organ donor. Mm. And there were just a lot of questions that surrounded that. That was the early 1990s, sorry. I think I aged myself, didn't I? It was the early 1990s, and it was just something we didn't know anything about. So we worked together, and those kids and I still get requests for the book that we published, as well as coming and talking about it, because it's still kind of an incredible project, you know, that we were able to do together with the Tennessee Donor Services. So that would have to be my fondest memory. But then again, I've had thousands, and we would be here all day because I have thousands of memories with those kids that I love.
I want to pick up on Shan's question because teaching is such a noble profession. 2 of my sisters have been teachers, and some of our listeners may not know that Tennessee Tech is the #1 producer of teachers in the state of Tennessee, and we even outpace our friends up the road in Knoxville. But we hear today about challenges with teacher burnout and administrative burden, but you know, we still need good, caring teachers like you in our communities, and it was obviously something that gave you a lot of fulfillment. So what would be your message to someone thinking about a career in teaching today?
Never stop learning. I just have found that going back and taking these classes that I'm able to do at Tennessee Tech, it keeps me current. It keeps me up to date. It inspires me. I come across a lot of innovative lessons. I think as a teacher, you can't be teaching in 2000 what you're going to teach in 2010. I just think we have to update ourselves every once in a while. And I do think that being a student yourself will help you do that. But as far as my career, I look back and I am just so blessed. Working with the state, working with the county, those are some good careers. And if you're raising children, of course, everyone says you get the summer off, but most of the time during the summer, we were planning for other things or going to conferences.
That is so not true.
Exactly. And another thing I think is stay involved with an organization that supports you in your field. And I am very active in the Journalism Education Association still today. I mentor teachers if I have time. We have a huge conference coming up, expecting around 5,000 students from across the nation. And Nashville is going to be hosting that. I just found attending those conferences, not only for journalism, but English and theater and all those things have just, I don't know, kept me inspired.
Now, Joy, we recently interviewed someone on the show that you know very well, Dr. Brenda Wilson, who is your colleague in Tennessee Tech's Department of Communication and Media. And we spoke with her about last year's 100th anniversary event for the Oracle. Now, I understand that you also attended that special reunion and you were a student journalist for the Oracle during your early days at Tech. So what can you tell us from your perspective about that? And how did your time as a student journalist inform your work as the advisor for the student newspaper at Upperman High School?
Well, Hicks Stubblefield and Dr. Hutchinson, Hutch, as we called him, they were just, they were two of my great heroes. They were so inspiring. And working as a journalist, I think my big lesson I learned was the importance of deadlines. And I still stress that. I like to do things early now simply because of the hectic. You could get yourself in a really bad situation if you work close to a deadline. And so deadlines are probably the one big takeaway from there. But I think it also helped me become a better teacher because Tech at that time was ahead of some of the newspapers. Professional productions, they had iLearn as a layout app that we used, and even the local newspapers were not using that yet. We were so far ahead of time. So I felt kind of ahead of times.
You were the innovator.
In that case, I think Tech was the innovator, but they passed those skills on to me. And so I also learned how important it is to be a voice for everyone. And, that's how newspapers originally became the voice for, the watchdog of the government and for other people. And so I still value that. And I value that because of the instructors that I had. But the real life experience is it's true. A newspaper is very, very important, whether it's online or a paper product that's been printed. It is the one voice that we could all use.
Joy, I want to talk a little bit about our live theater scene here in Cookeville, which is something that I'm really passionate about. I don't have the talents, but I'm happy to be a patron. I'm happy to be a supporter. And I want prospective students, parents who may be listening, and if they're not, as familiar with Cookeville, I want them to know that Cookeville punches far above its weight in terms of our local theater, and you've been a big part of that over the years, as has your daughter-in-law, Laura Holloway, who is the creative genius behind Storyteller House Productions here in town. What is being a part of this local theater community, and now seeing Laura putting her stamp on it too? What's that meant to you?
Well, I'm like you. I love theater, and that was actually one of my first jobs at Tennessee Tech was teaching the intro to theater. Watching Laura has been real inspiring to me as well. She's just so talented. She has written and produced several productions at this point in time, and one that I was able to participate in was The Kitchen, which was shown here a couple of times, but for the most part, it was bound for New York City. And, I can now say I was off Broadway in New York City in a play that I absolutely loved. I loved my part. I actually have kind of gone into a little bit of film. In fact, tomorrow night is the opening of 911 Nashville, and we were there. I actually took my husband, made him an extra, working in that production. And we don't know at this point in time if we'll make any of the scenes, but we were a very small group of extras. So chances are you'll get to see me in some film. I've actually done several other things that have been aired recently in Nashville, because Nashville's becoming a big film site for several different productions. But I did the Scarpetta, which is the Nicole Kidman and Jamie Lee Curtis. That's about to start a series. I think that's on Amazon. So I think it was kind of easy to springboard from theater into the live film, but my heart is like yours. My heart is with the theater because there's something about being part of a live production. And while the New York City would probably be one of my favorites, oh gosh, I have so many other favorites. And I don't have to be in them. I'm kind of like you. I like being comfortable in my seat as well, enjoying theater.
Well, and I was, just as you were talking about that, I was sitting here thinking, actually, Shannon and I came to the same evening of the Cabana
Yes.
that Laura also did. And so, just
So much fun.
The talent
So much fun.
in this community is
well, the thing that really concerns me is, I wonder where she gets her material. Well, actually, I know where she gets some of it. So just a little warning, you might be careful around her.
I love it. Now, my question was going to be asking you to choose a favorite in all of the productions and the things that you've done. And you've already kind of leaned into that a little, but, it's like asking you to pick your favorite child, I suppose. It's not a really fair question, but I am curious. You've done a whole lot of work across time. Which one really stands out to you?
Well, one of the first productions I did was the Laramie Project, and that meant so much to me. And I think that really the message is what I really am more concerned about. Is what message do you want to give to your audience and to the world? And, you have a platform, and it's just such a great place to do those things. At the high school, the Education of Angels was one of the plays that students still come to me and say, let's do that again. It was so good. And it is one of those kind of what I call a Laura play. You have a great production leading up to an unexpected ending.
Well, and I think storytelling in your work, storytelling is a great way to inspire or motivate people because it kind of comes through the back door. It's sneaky. It comes in as entertainment, but then you leave having taken away a very serious thing that sometimes people remember forever.
Right. Well, one of the things that when Jonathan brought up was the favorite child. We actually have this discussion a lot at my house because I have some fabulous kids. Laura, of course, is in theater, but I have a daughter who does the Food to the Rescue. I have a daughter in North Carolina who is a big part of helping children without homes. I have my daughter, Jessie, who's a great photographer, and then that didn't talk about my sons. But I will tell you, the big favorite child discussion comes with the grandkids. I have 9 grandsons.
Oh, my goodness, it's
and
all
2
over now.
granddaughters, and the big conversation is which one's the favorite, and I'll tell you. It's the one that's in front of me at the time.
Good answer. Well, and of course, Jessie was our photographer in the communications and marketing office where I work at Tech, and it was so great to work with her. And actually, it was her going away event when I finally realized that she was related to you. I didn't the whole time working with her. I didn't know that, and then right as she's leaving, I found that out. But she was so good to work with, so talented.
And I've had several of your partners at Tennessee Tech, some of those working in the communications department. I had several of those in high school.
Oh yeah, Bailey Ponsnassen was one of your students. Well, as we mentioned, you've been an adjunct instructor at Tennessee Tech for many years, and I was in your class 14 years ago for Intro to Theater, and I'm embarrassed to say I went back yesterday evening, looked on Eagle Online, and actually I made a B in that class. I don't know how because
why
it wasn't. I mean, it was not particularly hard. I think I had senioritis. It was senior year, but now today you're mainly teaching professional communications. What can you tell us about those classes, and what do you hope students are learning in your course today?
Well, one of the things that students always come to that class and say, I've dreaded taking this class, and I really don't understand that. But I do realize that some folks have a hard time speaking. without preparation or up in front of people or whatever. So, this one's a hard one because I really try to make this class all about life skills, teaching them to be part of society and do the best that they can do in the field of communications. I will tell you, though, the biggest impact that I've had from doing that is just the ability to be a part of those students' life after the classroom. And I won't hesitate to do that because I just have a big heart, I guess, that I love kids and I like to see them do well. And when they are successful, I just kind of like to ride their tailcoat a little bit and feel that maybe I'm part of that reason,
Well, I'm sure that's true.
Well, and let me ask you, because you were, you were obviously plenty busy. How did this adjunct instructing at Tennessee Tech, how did that start? Because you were working at Upperman. You've got your hands in a lot of projects. What made you decide to take that on?
I will tell you that one of my first goals in life was to never be a teacher who's just riding out the time. And I know, unfortunately, I think there are very few of those, but I have seen those. And I know how detrimental they can be to the life of a student, either with their negative thoughts or whatever. And I've always said, if I get to the point where I do feel somewhat of a burnout or feel that I'm not doing a good job, then I need to move on. And that was kind of what happened. I just felt that I wasn't getting anywhere and that my accomplishments weren't affecting the students. And so I said, okay, let's try the college students. And I loved it. I loved the theater at Tennessee Tech. I loved the theater community at Tennessee Tech. My feelings about the theater are you have athletes, you have people who are studious, you have people who are academically inclined, and I just think there's a whole group of people that navigate themselves toward the theater because they need a home. They need a place. They need a place to express themselves and feel comfortable and something to be a part of. And so that's why I have always loved the theater at Tennessee Tech, because I know there's a whole big family there. And that family may have left the university and gone on to their careers, but they always come back, and I still see those people. Those people are still in my life. So I think theater is very, very important. But I think Tennessee Tech, as far as the impact that it's had on my life, I like to steal a line from an old coach who used to say, "Cut me and I will bleed purple and gold." And I kind of feel that way too. And I think a lot of that is because of Angelo and Jeanette, who I still am very, very good friends with Jeanette. I visit her sometimes. They were just inspirational in my life.
Well, and for our listeners, of course, Angelo Volpe was the president, former president of Tennessee Tech, and so the fact that you knew him and the former first lady, I mean, maybe we can just spend a little bit of time on that, because a lot of I want to say his service ended in 2000. Or 99 or 2000, and then President Bell was, succeeded him, and I know that President Volpe passed away a couple of years ago now. So, what a unique experience to have known and to have been really close with our former university president and first lady.
I actually used to beg them to adopt me. I will never forget. I did a Miami half marathon, and Angelo called me. He was so tickled. He wanted to take me out to lunch. And he wanted to see that medal that I won because it looked like it was real heavy, and he wanted to wear it. Yes, we went past the college. We went past the university. We became very, very good friends. Angelo would ask me when I was a student many times what my grade was in that math class that he knew I'd put off for a long time. So I felt like he had $1 invested in my degree. Jeanette, she and I visit her at the nursing home. And try to spend time with her once a month or so, and we take her flowers sometimes, but just more than anything, we go spend time with her because she still is got so much spunk and still has that kindness about her that I just absolutely adore. I just recently took the new dean of the library, the Angelo and Jeanette Volpe Library, over to meet Jeanette.
Oh, wow.
And sitting there watching those two talk about the future of the library at Tennessee Tech just made my heart swell.
What a lovely gesture. That was such a great thing to do.
Well, I don't really think of it like that. I mean, Jeanette was interested. In fact, when you should have seen how happy she was when she found out there was a coffee shop in the library. So that's what I think.
I love that.
What I'm able to do with Jeanette is kind of keep her up to date on some of the stuff that's going on and things that she's interested in, because she's not able to get out any. So.
Well, and the new dean of our library, came here from out of state and wouldn't have necessarily known, I mean, so that was
making that connection.
Yeah, it was probably really meaningful for Dean McAllister.
Right. I think they're working on several projects that I think she wanted to make her aware of. And like I said, I just sat in the room and watched my heart swell. It was just such a good feeling. And the dean, Kelly, is adorable. I mean, and she has so many plans for that university library, and I'm so excited for her.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, Joy, normally we end our interview with the same question, and that's, how has Tennessee Tech impacted your life? You've already answered that like 20 times over, so check and check. And I also want to throw back to the fact that you say it's very important in your work that you taught life skills. I think that through theater and communication and all the things, public speaking for most adults, that's their number one fear. In the statistics of the world, you will see public speaking. It ranks at least in the top 3 fears for every single adult. And to conquer that fear early on is a very empowering feeling for anyone that goes into the workplace, because guess what? They'll be like, hey, you're going to do a presentation on Monday. And you're like, what? I thought I was going to work behind a computer, or I thought I was just going to, run a cash register or type this or do that. But there's some point in your life where you have to conquer that fear. And for you to give those life skills and that confidence brings such value. Thank you so much for being our guest today on College Town Talk.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me. It was nice to see you, and especially my former student, Jonathan. I'm going to have to go check his work.
Even though he was a B student.
Even though he was a B student.
It's really bugging him.
I love those B students, too.
And for our listeners, if you're enjoying our show and hearing from incredible Golden Eagles like Joy McCaleb Poteet, would you do us a favor and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get this podcast? It all helps to spread the word about the great things happening right here in Cookeville.
And everybody, we're going to meet you back right here again next week for more conversations with the people who make Cookeville, Tennessee's college town.
College Town Talk is presented by Tennessee Tech University in partnership with the Cookeville-Putnam County Visitors Bureau. Your hosts are Jonathan Frank and Shan Stout, and original music is performed by Andrew Buckner. Visit us online at tntech.edu/collegetowntalk.